Welcome to the Deepak Saini Show.
He said he gon' huff and puff and blow my mind up. You meet to Allan Hirsh, she might dirty wind up.
Welcome to the Deepak Saini Show. I'd like to thank J23 for our intro music. You can find a link to her music in the show description. My guest today is Allan T. Hirsh. Allan believes in making a difference in the lives of people and their organizations. He's the author of 45-Minute Breakthroughs. You can see that behind him if you're watching the video on his desk there. He helps business owners by guaranteeing to find at least $50,000 for them in the first 45-minute conversation. He also helps business owners and executive directors discover their why, understand their personal and organizational visions, ask questions, listens, and make suggestions to help them make decisions that align with their why and their personal and professional goals. He holds them accountable for the decisions and works with them, supports their decisions, and helps them learn how to strategically execute them. He's a man after my own heart. I do the very same thing with my clients, not the 50,000 part, but awesome. We're going to get into that. Allan, welcome to the Deepak Saini Show.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Oh, pleasure's all mine, my friend. I like to start by, asking, go as far back as you want. How did you get into the work that you're doing now?
I started out, I graduated from college, went to work in a family business, took it over in the end of 82 as the CEO, and grew it from under 2 million to 25 million in the next 18 years.
What was the family business?
It was Ottenheimer Publishers. It was a publishing company that we published children's books, greeting cards, and adult home reference.
Okay, awesome. That's quite a growth.
And we ran into Amazon, and big box retailers were changing what they were doing and dictating what you could sell children's books for. So we decided to get out of the business. I still own all the copyrights. I still license some of the copyrights and some of the information to third parties and collect it. I then went to work as an executive director for a nonprofit, helped it grow, and then retired for a little while and found out I didn't like retirement.
Too boring?
I know. By the way, now I retire every night now, but that's another story. So I bought a business that did design commercial kitchens and restaurants, and bought it in 08. I like to say it could have been worse. It could have been 1929, right at the beginning of the recession. I joined a group called Vistage International. I had a coach, and the coach and the other members of this group helped me tremendously. And I turned around that business, growing sales by 6 times, and sold it to a competitor in the end of 11. And my coach said, since I couldn't be in the group, I should be coaching a group. So I went out in January of 2012, and became a certified coach and facilitator. I worked with a Vistage group for a year. We did not necessarily agree. I didn't agree necessarily with Vistage. I like working with smaller companies. Vistage likes working with larger companies. We separated, and I've been on my own. I did look at the alternative board. I went out there and took their course. I took a course from someone who studied Simon Sinek's Why and has an authorized Know Your Why, and became certified as a why coach. And that's what I do. I work with business owners, helping them find better ways to run their businesses to make more money. I've been doing it for almost 12 and a half years.
So Allan, you've obviously had a lot of success in your career, all the things you just described. Why keep going? What's driving you to work with these business owners still?
It's about their results, being able to see them grow their business. It's rewarding to help people grow. There's not, I like to help people, like to make a difference in their lives. And I really do. When you can help somebody, I'll tell a story. It's a true story. I was working with a window and door installer for commercial properties a number of years ago. Um, and we discovered his why. But more importantly, he was working in his business. He had to find a way to work on the business. His sales were up and down. Every 3-4 months they'd hit zero. Every 3 or 4 months they'd hit a peak, and they declined. He believed that the best way to lead was to lead by example in the field, working with his staff. I convinced him that that's not the best way to lead. If he hired an estimator, two project supervisors that could schedule and assign people and then supervise the work, and hire a bookkeeper. And he did this. In the next 2 years, he quadrupled his sales. Unfortunately, his wife came down with stage 4 cancer. He would have been out of business if he'd been operating the other way when I worked with him. But 3 years later, when his wife came down with it, he could work a half a day.
Right.
And his business continued to grow. I mean, that's the kind of thing that I do, and I work with business owners.
Yeah, Alan, let's dig into that a little bit more. You've kind of sort of explained it, but like maybe let's go a little bit more granular. So how do you actually help the business owners like make these amazing results?
Well, with him, I used KPIs. I had him tracking his back orders, his sales, and his cash flow. And I did it as a KPI, but I did it as a 12-month rolling average. So he saw the trends. He didn't just see month to month. And if the trend started going down, he knew he had to find a way to pick up on sales or pick up on back orders or pick up on cash flow. And that's why he grew his business. And he believed in building trust with his clients, which he never talked about before. So, I mean, everything he did was about building his trust. And his prices began to creep up, and he built trust with his customers, and they kept coming back.
So what I'm hearing you say is that, and KPIs for those who I'm sure everyone knows, but key performance indicators, but essentially know your numbers, really track the things that are important in your particular business, and cash flow with most businesses, right, is number one probably, right?
Right. But I mean, I worked with a sign company. We discovered his why was about it's interesting about building trust. Changed his entire marketing. The next 3 years, he too quadrupled his business. He tells me the story. I tell the story that he called me in one October and said, customer called me, wants a $17,000 sign. He wants it delivered in 10 days. I can't deliver it in 10 days. I can only deliver it in 20 days. What do I do? I answered him, what do you think you do? If you're building trust with somebody, you've got to tell them honestly, I can't deliver. So we told him that. And they went with another supplier. Well, 14 days later, he got a call from him. When can you have the sign? He delivered in 18 days.
Right.
And that company, until he sold his business, never went to another sign company again. They knew they were reliable, trustworthy. The pricing didn't matter that much because they got what they want when they wanted it.
Right. Very, very important. So I kind of alluded to it when I was reading your bio about the why, and you mentioned a couple times, and I for my own clients, I find really tying and identifying what their why is really important for them to go through their journey with me. So can you, like, maybe in your definition, like how important is the why, or what does the why mean in your context working with your clients?
The why to me is one of the most important things that a business can understand. It's about what you believe in. It's a very simple. There are 9 whys. One is, for me, it's about contributing to a greater cause to help people. One is building trust, finding a better way, uh, the right way, uh, and it goes on. But it's a very simple statement, and it starts with why you do what you do. And I like to say when I'm working with someone, uh, I like to start with their website. Most websites talk about what you do, and they're in the language of first person. We do this, we do that.
As opposed to
You start
why they do that or why they have their business.
why they have their business and how they do it, and then they talk about what they do. And when you do that, but you put the why in third party, as if you are talking to a particular client,
Right.
not and it believe me, it works. And then I do other things. I go and look at their costs. I saved the photographer 25% in cost of goods sold. Go straight to the bottom line.
Alan, just going back to the why for a second, some of the audience might be thinking, are you really talking about mission statement or something like that? Or is that something, are they two separate things?
You can call it what you want.
Fair enough.
uh, Simon Sinek started the process by naming it as why you do what you do. Uh, and you can call it your mission statement, you can call it your vision statement, but it's literally why you do it. You believe in building trust. You want to be honest and have honesty with your clients. They call and say, I need something in 20 days. Can you deliver it in 20 days? If not, you need to be honest and tell them. You have to live and breathe with why you do what you do. And it creates a value proposition, which then builds trust. Whether or not they know your why, it builds trust no matter what. And it started with, I saw Simon Sinek's, I guess his TED talk back in 2009, and I was fascinated by it. But he never went into the depth that the Know Your Why did. I spent almost a year and a half studying it.
Right.
And learning it and becoming a business consultant and using the why as a basis for what I do. And it permeates everything that I do and deal with my clients because it works. People do not buy what you do. When they do, they're buying a commodity. And you're commodity pricing.
Right. I think it's
They
an
buy
important
why
distinction
you
for
do what
people
you
to
do.
make.
They're buying the values that you put in your why statement.
I love that answer. I want to bring this up because I said in the bio, you help business owners guaranteeing to find at least $50,000 in a first 45-minute conversation. What's typically, I'm sure it varies greatly, but where do you typically see where people can either, I'm assuming it's either make an extra 50 million or save not 50 million, 50,000 or save 50,000. Like where are some areas that you typically see?
It can be in their cost of goods sold. The photographer was the first 45 days. I saved him 25%. And he'd been he'd been buying his albums from one supplier for 20 years. I said to him, go back to the supplier. Will he offer discounts for your quantities? He called, we talked the following week. He said, no, they won't. I said, well, call some other uh, album cover makers. You haven't pursued it. He called one. He loved their covers. They're better covers, and they sold them for 25% less money. He's working with them, and it saves 25% on costs. I also worked with him and about helping him find a joint venture. He works at behest of a lot of times of party planners for bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, weddings, and private parties. So I said, have you ever called any of them? I know you sit there and wait for their call. And he said, no. I said, do me a favor. Make a list of 15 of them that you work well together with. Begin calling 4 a week. So you get them all in a month. Just call them. Let them know that you're there. You know, you would like to be considered when they have a project, and so you're not invisible. First week he called 4 people. He got $20,000 of additional business because he went to them and said, "Do you have any?" And they said, "Oh my God, I didn't never thought of you." Partners are out of mind, out of sight, and they don't remember. When you follow up, just a little bit of follow up once a month, you take them to lunch every 6 months, whatever, with people that you work with that are in your same industry, your sales go up.
Allan, would it be?
Excuse me, it's not rocket science.
I was just gonna, yeah, I'm glad you said that. What I was going to say is, Allan, it kind of seems like you're really good at pointing out people's blind spots, maybe, of what they've been doing something one way for so long, like that first example, or just like maybe that I never thought of calling, just pointing out some very simple things that can translate, depending on the business, of course, to like big dollars.
Absolutely. That's how we get started. Uh, there's a simple thing. And I don't mean to put down accountants, but a lot of businesses, a lot of smaller businesses are LLCs. They're taxed as LLCs. I can save my fee in taxes alone.
Just in how they structure their business.
They tax it that's an LLC, but they tax it as a S corp. They take a reasonable salary, and anything about $147,000 of income, they save 15.87% or something like that. So if they can take a $50,000 average salary, they're going to save $15,000 in Social Security taxes.
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing. And I don't know if you know this, but I used to be a CPA before. I was more of an industry. I didn't really work with taxes so much, although I've done a little bit in my time. But it's amazing how many business owners, entrepreneurs, or get so not that you shouldn't be focused on the marketing and growing your business, but like that back end stuff, the bookkeeping, the accounting, proper legal structure, insurance, like gets second thought. It's like that's really important stuff, actually, right?
Well, I work with some companies that partner where they have partners, and I ask if you have a partnership agreement, because if one of the partners died, do you want to be a partner with their spouse?
Yeah, things like that, super important for sure, for sure. Allan, I want to change direction. Sorry, go ahead. You got something else?
Oh, go ahead. No, I was just going to talk about it. It wasn't me, but I was told this story by a exit planner uh, who worked with a client. It's $100 million business that I don't work with. I don't work with that size business, but his son was running one of the divisions, and he planned to have his son take over the entire business. So he spent $150,000 for all this work with the lawyers, accountants, and everybody else, and then went and told his son what he'd done. The son said, "I don't want the business." He never asked.
Yeah, well, communication, I think that's a whole nother topic we don't need to go down
I
on,
know,
but like
but
people
but
working with
that's the
your
same
family and your
thing.
business. Yeah.
You have to ask your partners how they want to handle it.
Yeah, absolutely. Communication is key there for sure. Alan, I want to take our conversation just a little bit of a slightly different direction. So, even though I work with my clients on their health, this is not a health podcast per se, obviously, but I do like to ask my guests, like what does your morning routine look like, or what's a non-negotiable for your health that you do every day?
I get up, I ride my stationary bike, and then I exercise. So I do stretches and exercise. It's literally non-negotiable.
Awesome, I love that. Another question: what do you wish you started earlier in life? Or another way that you could put a spin is, what would you love to go back and tell your younger self?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in going back. I mean, because you can think of all you want about going back, but you can't go back. You've
True.
got to move forward. Now, you can learn from your mistakes, you can learn from your successes, but it is what it is, and you've got to go from and you got to learn from them and use those experiences to help other people.
Absolutely.
So
I
I
don't.
really don't look back with any regrets on anything.
I love that. I don't think we can. We are who we are today because of the past experiences we had, both failures,
Right.
successes, heartbreak, and joys.
Hmm.
So, Alan, you have a gift for our listeners. Could you describe what that is
Well,
for everyone?
I work with business owners, as I said, that are small, up to maybe 10, $15 million, and I'm willing to do an hour consulting for free, just to sit and talk and see if I can be helpful to them. And I apply the 45 minutes of breakthroughs where I can help them find 25, 50,000, $100,000 worth of sales in 45 minutes to an hour. So yeah.
So everyone, that is super valuable. It could be worth up to $50,000 for you to take Alan up on this offer. So please, well, it's up to you to do it. You should do it. I think I'll take Alan up on that and myself. Why wouldn't I? So yeah, everyone, very generous offer by Alan there in gifting everyone, every listener, potentially his time. So definitely take him up on that. Alan, before we wrap up here, is there any last words of wisdom or golden nuggets, if you will, that you'd love to share with the audience today?
Well, one of the things that I believe in, I believe that entrepreneurs, business owners, uh, they have a they when they have an outside consultant, an outside, and I use the term coach. I shouldn't be using the word consultant. Outside coach that can question, challenge, and suggest things that can help them improve. Can talk to them about decisions. I mean, I had a client that wanted to that he was a insurance agent for one of the large insurance companies. Came in and said, we have an open agency that's for sale in such and such a territory. Would you take it? And I said to him, I, I discussed it with him. I said, talk to your wife. You weren't married when you started this one. You worked 80 to 100 hours, didn't you? He said, yeah. I said, you're going to have to do it again. Is your wife going to want you to do it? Are your kids going to want you to do it? So it's not just about the business, it's about the relationships, which I get into. And he didn't buy it. He said, no, well, the insurance company came back and offered him a year's worth of overhead. They paid the year's overhead to bring in uh, trained insurance salesman and paid all the overhead, so he had nothing at risk. And then he did it.
Yeah, but you gave him the perspective as his coach.
Absolutely. It gave him a perspective. He had to make the decision, which is what I believe in. A business owner always makes his own decisions. It's then my job to help him execute them.
Yeah, absolutely. Straight up parallels with what I do as well. I'm just working with people from the health perspective, right? They're got to make their own decision. They got to do all the choices. I just offer perspective and for them as well. So very, very
Yes,
similar.
and they don't know what they don't know, and I don't know it all, but I learn as much from my clients as hopefully they learn from me.
Absolutely. I think that's a good coaching relationship. It goes that way. We always learn
Yeah,
from our clients as well.
and so that's what I love. I love learning. I love helping, and I don't charge so much that it's greedy. I love what I do, and I'm going to do it as long as I can do it.
Awesome. I love that. That's similar to me too. When people say, when's your plans for retirement? I was like, if you love what you're doing and you're helping people in your mission or your why, if you will, why would you stop?
Mhm.
You can
Well,
design your lifestyle how
I
you want.
agree. You know, uh, I'm having a blast.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. Allan, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show today. It's been a blast having this conversation with you. I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to take you up on your offer there, and everyone else should as well. And we're going to have the link to book that call and all of Allan's other links to find him and his website and all that type of thing if you want to work with him in the show notes. So definitely check that out. Again, Allan, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I look forward to hearing from your audience and you.
Awesome, awesome. So again, everyone, a free 1 hour consultation with Allan. Definitely take him up on that. I'm going to throw it back to J23, who's going to guide us out with some music. Also, don't forget to check out today's show sponsor. Again, everyone, thanks for listening to the Deepak Saini Show. Exceptional results for the exceptional you. Till next time. This episode is brought to you by Optimizers. I love their product, Gluten Guardian. Now, I'm not celiac, but I am sensitive to gluten, and sometimes you just can't avoid it. You're out. Sometimes you just want to celebrate that birthday cake that your kids made, what have you. So I'll pop a couple of these pills just to help mitigate the inflammation and help break down the gluten that I may ingest sometimes. So Gluten Guardian also works with dairy as well. I take these occasionally, and click the link and you can save 10% off at least, if not more. Cheers.
Podcast produced by the Minted Green Company